What is up, Packers fans? Happy Packers game day. Welcome in to an all-new episode of the Pack-A-Day podcast. I'm your host, Andy Herman. You can follow me on Twitter at Andy Herman NFL. It's not just any Packers game day. It is Packers-Bears game day, Lambeau Field, and it has been a hot second since your Green Bay Packers and that team to the south, the Chicago Bears, have played in a game this meaningful this late in the season. Lots on the line in this one. Playoff seeding, the NFC North, a lot of bragging rights. Of course, there's the whole historical context, all of the smack talk between fan bases. There's a lot going on in this one. We're going to cover it all for you today. I'm looking forward to this, not only this show, but certainly the game coming up 3:25 p.m. Central Time. As I said, we'll break it all down for you, so let's get after it right away. First of all, shout out to Double Doc for becoming a brand new Pack-A-Day podcast YouTube member. Appreciate you, Double Doc. If you haven't checked out those memberships yet, what are you waiting for? Get after it. Some super cheap options available for you. Get into those members Q&As every week. That's probably worth it in and of itself. Early access to videos, so check those out over on YouTube. Also, we did get some pretty significant news on Saturday that I want to talk about right away. The really good news, Jaden Reed is back. The Packers activated him on Saturday, which indicated in and of itself that he was going to play in this game. But the reports from Ian Rappaport and Schefter and those insiders is also that he is set to make his return to play in this game against Chicago. He's back. This is what we've been waiting for. A run after the catch option, which has been severely lacking with the injury to Jaden Reed, and of course the season-ending injury to Tucker Kraft as well. Don't know how much he's going to play. You know, when Watson came back, I thought this was going to be a real sort of hold his hand situation and make sure he gets through this. It wasn't. It's like, all right, you're in, you're good to go. They held him back to some extent, but he was ramped up pretty quick. We'll see with Jaden Reed if this is 10 to 15 snaps, if this is 25 to 30, 30 to 40. I can't imagine it's going to be anything above that, but we'll keep an eye on that throughout the course of the game. But a huge return for Jaden Reed, and I do expect him to have an impact in this game. We talked about it yesterday. In order for Jaden Reed to be activated, there would need to be a corresponding transaction. That transaction was one that we talked about. Malik Heath was officially released. Couple things I want to go over here with Malik Heath. First of all, cool story, right? Undrafted free agent, made it almost 3 full years with the team. That's a pretty awesome accomplishment in and of itself. The shelf life for an undrafted free agent is usually not that high, and Malik Heath has made it this far, and I don't think his journey is completely over yet either. I do think it's likely that his journey is over in Green Bay. So here's what happens next for Malik Heath. The first thing is that he could get claimed off of waivers on Monday. If he gets claimed off of waivers, he's clearly gone, right? If he's not claimed off of waivers, Green Bay then, I'm assuming, would offer him a practice squad spot. If I'm Malik Heath and I'm Malik Heath's agent, there's really only 2 things that would keep me in Green Bay. Number one, I've probably got, some sort of housing and everything here, right? I'm familiar with Green Bay. I probably have some roots in Green Bay. The second thing is that the offense, the system. This is where you started. Those are good things, right? But if I'm his agent and if I'm Malik Heath, you have 6 for sure wide receivers that are on this team ahead of you that are not going anywhere at this point in time. Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks, Matthew Golden, and Savion Williams. And they still have Bo Melton. And as of late, the preference has been Bo Melton over Malik Heath, at least when you're getting snaps at wide receiver right now. So he's got 7 players on the active 53-man roster at his position that are ahead of him. Meanwhile, he was recently forced to stay home due to some sort of issue, and they just released him. I don't think that that's probably where I want to be after that if I'm Malik Heath. Furthermore, they have Isaiah Nair, Jacoby Keeney-James, and Will Shepard all on the practice squad. 3 more wide receivers on the practice squad that now I'm competing with them for practice squad stuff, right? It just doesn't make sense. There are so many wide receiver rooms in the NFL that are far less deep than Green Bay that even if I don't get claimed, I'm finding a practice squad elsewhere where the depth is nowhere near as good, and I'm going to work my way up from there. So I would be somewhat surprised if Malik Heath ended up back in Green Bay. The last thing I'll say in regards to this is when this happened, I saw a lot of tweets that came to me when I posted the news of, I even saw some that went as aggressive. What mismanagement by Brian Gutekunst, and I can't believe they cut Malik Heath. And oh my goodness, how did they possibly release him and keep Bo Melton? I'm not. This is not the time nor the place. I'm not trying to be disparaging towards Malik Heath. He's had a really rough year, a really rough year. And you might say, well, he's a really good block. He hasn't been a good blocking receiver this year. He's caught 6 passes for 86 yards on only 7 targets. So when he's been throwing the ball, he's done a pretty good job. But when you're a wide receiver in the NFL, you have to do, there's certain things that you want, right? Can you create after the catch? Malik Heath can't. Right? Can you be a deep threat? No, Malik Heath cannot do that either. Are you an extraordinary route runner? He's not. Can you do some of the little things? Well, he doesn't play teams, at least not much. And again, the one thing that kind of kept him here was the blocking, and his blocking, it's really kind of fallen off as well. Add in what basically was a 1-game suspension a couple games ago and a bunch of wide receivers on the roster. The writing was on the wall here. I don't think Green Bay is going to live to regret the day that they released Malik Heath in favor of their young and talented wide receiver core that is already getting, frustration from fans because they can't find enough snaps for Matthew Golden. They're going to be just fine. This was the logical move for Green Bay. Could have seen this coming. We talked about it the other day. And I don't think, and the last thing I'll say is Bo Melton. Why keep Bo Melton is a clear and obvious keep over Malik Heath. Number one, they've been playing Bo Melton at wide receiver more than Malik Heath. Spoiler, they should be playing Bo Melton more than Malik Heath. He's been the better wide receiver. I know Melton had the one that he dropped a couple weeks ago or whatever, but Melton adds a little bit more speed, a little bit more juice, and brings more to the offense than what Malik Heath does. Melton's a core special teamer, a really, really good special teams player. Malik Heath is not. And I know he hasn't played on defense, but the fact that you get a 48-man game day roster player that can play defense, is a core special teamer, and can play wide receiver, that is a huge, huge asset to have. That is a no-brainer whatsoever. That was never a conversation between Bo Melton and Malik Heath. That was always going to be keeping Bo Melton in that situation. So this was the right move for Green Bay. If you're frustrated, upset, okay, but don't lose any sleep over this one. It's going to be fine. I do not think he's going to get claimed. Could easily be wrong. I think he'll end up on a practice squad somewhere else. But hey, if Green Bay can get him back on the practice squad, that would be the ideal situation. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope maybe he wants to stay and he's on good terms with Green Bay even after the release, and they can keep him around. That would be great. But for now, I would expect him to find a home somewhere else. It should also be noted that with that transaction, they also did not activate Brenton Cox. He was questionable going into the game, and with him not being activated to the active roster, that means he is out for this game. So Brenton Cox will not be able to play. There were no other practice squad elevations or transactions for this game either. Meanwhile, the Chicago Bears activated linebacker Jalen Reeves-Maven and guard Jordan McFadden. That brings us to our Habish Rotier injury report for this game. Out for Green Bay, Marshawn Lloyd, Savion Williams, LVN, Colin Oliver. And while he wasn't listed as out originally, as I just mentioned, we now know that Brenton Cox is out for this game as well. Questionable for Green Bay. Jaden Reed, we know that he's playing, but he was listed as questionable. The 3 true questionable players, Matthew Golden, Nate Hobbs, and Javon Bullard, they did not bring up any corners. So I would assume that probably means that Nate Hobbs and or Bullard are going to go, maybe both, but at least one of them. And with no other wide receivers and releasing Malik Heath, I would assume that there's a good chance that Matthew Golden is activated for this game as well. Meanwhile, for Chicago, Ruben Hippolyte, Rome Odunze, and Tyreek Stevenson all out for Chicago. The big one there is Rome Odunze. If I had to guess the inactive list for Green Bay, we know Savion Williams and LVN will be out. Remember, they only need to deactivate 5 because they have a 53 and, it's a 48-man game day roster. So only 5. And again, we know Savion and LVN will be 2 of them. I'm going to assume that Javon Bullard's not going to play in this one. He didn't practice on Friday. Hope like hell I'm wrong. I would love to see Javon Bullard out there, but I'm going to assume that Javon Bullard is an inactive. Donovan Jennings as the 9th offensive lineman that they don't need. And then new defensive tackle, Quentin Bohanna. He just got here on Saturday. Crazier things have happened, but my guess is they give him a little bit longer to get ready. So those would be my hypothesis for the inactives. Again, Savion Williams, LVN, Javon Bullard, Donovan Jennings, and Quentin Bohanna. Now, the Packers know how to bounce back from tough hits. If you've been hit with an injury after an accident, the team of highly skilled attorneys at Habish Rotier can help you receive the right compensation to help you bounce back from your injury. Habish has been successfully resolving claims for over 90 years, and their attorneys have the experience and expertise to get you back in the game. When you call Habish, you're going to talk to a lawyer directly. Their number is 800-242-2874 or 800-2HABISH. You can also visit their website at habish.com. Habish and Rotier, national reputation, hometown service. Make sure to tell them that Andy Herman and the Pack-A-Day podcast sent you as well. That brings us to our Luigi's Pizza player to watch in this one. I tweeted it out the other day as a little bit of a spoiler in case you were paying attention. Colby Wooden, not a player just a few months ago that going into Packers-Bears in a key game would have been a player that would have come to mind as a key player to watch in this game. Colby Wooden is the Green Bay Packers' #1 defensive tackle. Kenny Clark is in Dallas. Devontae Wyatt's out for the year. Carl Brooks is coming off a little injury stint. You've got a couple rookies in Stackhouse and Brinson. You've got a couple new free agents that you just brought in this week. Colby Wooden's your #1 defensive tackle. And he's played pretty well all year long. But as I mentioned the other day, first 9 weeks, over +1 grade. Last 3 weeks, over or less than a -1 grade. He's actually gone into the negative simply based on these past 3 weeks. It does look like there's a little bit of signs of slowing down. Colby Wooden has not played this sort of snap count in recent history. I'm very interested to see how he holds up in this one against an interior for the Lions that, quite frankly, was pretty beat up and not that good. I thought he struggled in that game, was one of my 3 lowest graded players on defense. And the Chicago interior is much, much better than the Lions interior. They need Colby Wooden to be an impact player in this game. And I don't say that as he needs to get into the backfield and have 6 tackles for loss and a sack or any. No. He needs to be able to hold up at the point of attack, not get blown off the ball, and just make sure that he is staying steady and allowing linebackers like Quay Walker and Edgerrin Cooper to go make the plays. If he's out of his gap, Chicago is going to take advantage of that. Their run game is really, really good right now. And it is no easy sledding with the interior of that Bears defensive or offensive line, excuse me. So to me, Colby Wooden, a big time player to watch in this game. I know if you are taking your eye off the ball, it's hard to take it off of Micah Parsons, but keep an eye on that interior early and see what Colby Wooden and friends are doing. If they're holding up at the point of attack, things are likely going to go very well for Green Bay. If Wooden's struggling, that makes me nervous. That makes me very, very nervous. That is a key piece in this game for the Packers. Holiday pizzas. You got to get your holiday pizzas. Imagine gathered around the fire, eating crisp, delicious, fresh mozzarella from Wisconsin, frozen pizzas from Luigi's that are absolutely delectable and delicious. That's what you want to be doing. They're, of course, great victory pizzas as well, which we should have a fair amount of the remainder of the season. Also great for a late New Year's Eve snack. I cannot recommend it enough. Check them out over at luigispizza.com and on social media at Luigi's Pizza. I am craving one right now just from talking about it. Make sure you check these things out. They are beyond delicious, and you're going to thank me once you've tried them. All right, let's get to what we're watching in this game. My 12 things that I am going to be keeping a very close eye on through the course of the game. Let's start simple. It's worth noting, even though we could note it every single week, it has a little bit of a different connotation even in this one. It's the turnover battle. Chicago is #1 in the NFL at +17. 8 better than the second best placed team at +9, by the way. They are almost double the second best team in the NFL when it comes to turnover differential. They've been insane. Absolutely insane. Turnover luck's got to run out at some point, right? If Green Bay can even break even in the turnover battle, I love their odds in this one. And I mean, love their odds in this one. Jordan Love throws a pick. Got to find a way to get one from Caleb Williams or force a fumble, have them muff a punt, whatever it might be. Got to find a way to at least break even. You don't necessarily need to win it, although if you do, I'd love that even more. But just breaking even feels like it's more than enough for Green Bay in this game. Losing it, and this game is a complete toss-up. Can easily lose this game to Chicago. Again, Packers +4, Bears +17 in turnover differential. Time for the Packers to start getting over to going back to their turnover ways like we saw a year ago. Love to see a little bit more from Xavier McKinney in that regard, although he has to get thrown at first. And for Chicago, like I said, they can't just keep this up, right? They can't keep getting away with it. At some point, these turnovers are going to dry up. Let's make it today and then in a couple weeks from now in Chicago as well. Number 2, again, I'm not breaking any news here. You know this, but it's worth noting nonetheless. The Bears run game is really freaking good. Number 2 in the NFL. They tore shreds through the Philadelphia Eagles. Really good defense a week ago in Philadelphia nonetheless. They look awesome. Their run fits, just the way that they block, their intensity, the attention to detail. It really, kind of reminds me of the Super Bowl Broncos with Terrell Davis a little bit. Now, they don't have a running back the caliber of Terrell Davis, but some of the stuff you're seeing up front from their offensive line looks that good. I talked about it with Carmen Vitale. In 2024, the best makeover was the Packers safety room, adding Xavier McKinney, Evan Williams, and Javon Bullard, and Kitano Oladapo technically. And no, Zane Anderson was there, right? Either way, that makeover in one offseason was insane. And this year for Chicago, to get an interior, they got an interior offensive line in one offseason. A couple of these guys are on the older side of things. We'll see how long they're able to keep this up. But Joe Tooney, Jonah Jackson, Drew Dahlman, really, really good interior. And so if Green Bay wants to, really put a stop to this Bears offense, it starts there on the interior of their offensive line and starts with this run game. If you make Caleb Williams have to beat you, I love Green Bay's odds in this one. If Chicago's just running it and you can't stop it, Chicago's just going to win this game. Watch it early, watch it often. There's nothing more frustrating than when the opposing team is lining up to run the football and you can't do anything about it. Watch for Green Bay to play a lot of 5-man lines in this one, whether it's a 4-3 with a outside linebacker walking up, or whether it's a 3-4 type of look that really looks like a 5-2. Green Bay does a little bit of everything. What I love about Jeff Hafley is he will mix and match things. So if one thing's not working, he will switch it up. Evan Williams is one of the best in the league in crashing down from safety. You're going to see a lot of that. If that doesn't work, they'll bring that extra safety in the box and not even try to disguise it. There's a lot that Green Bay can do to answer it, but keep an eye on it because it's probably, and it's not probably, it's one of the true legitimate keys to this game. They're a really good run offense. Green Bay's a really good run defense. Should be a very fun matchup. The winner of that one, huge advantage in this game. Hey, friends, it's time to get our sleeper picks in for this huge game between Green Bay and Chicago. I don't know about you guys, but I am having a ton of fun with Sleeper this year. If you haven't tried it yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. This week, in this huge matchup, I'm going relatively simple. And this is the beautiful thing. You can mix and match as many of these as you want. I'm going with as little as 2 in this game. You could go, way more than that and mix it up. And there's a lot of different ways that you can get your sleeper picks on. But this week, I'm going Jordan Love, more than 212.5 passing yards. I know that Chicago's defense, especially in their defensive backfield, they've got some talented players. They give up yards. It's turnovers how they win. And I expect Green Bay to be able to throw the ball in this game. So more than 212.5 passing yards for Jordan Love. On the flip side, I know that Rome Odunze's become more involved as their tight ends. Of course, Luther Burden as well. But DJ Moore's been a bit of a pain for Green Bay in the past. 26.5 is not a ton of receiving yards. I'm going more than 26.5 receiving yards for DJ Moore. Here's the best part. If you haven't tried this yet, now is the perfect time. You can get a 100% match up to $100 by utilizing code PACKADAY. Yes, 100% match up to $100 by utilizing code PACKADAY. So what are you waiting for? Get your sleeper picks in today. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper for details. They're available in over 25 states nationwide. So get those sleeper picks in right now. Number 3, got to find a way to make it so that the Caleb Williams ad-lib plays don't haunt you. You want Caleb Williams holding onto the ball. That's a good situation for Green Bay. If the longer he holds it, the more time that Micah Parsons and friends have the opportunity to get there. The secondary can hold up on the back end, but the longer he holds it, the more that natural talent comes through. And whether it's the arm talent down the field or his scrambling ability, it gives Caleb Williams a lot of different options to try to beat you. What you want to do is to make him hold it, but inside the pocket. You don't want him to escape out, which is so much easier said than done. His escapability is incredible. It is a true legitimate superpower. And the truth is that when he drops back to pass, I don't have a ton of fear if he's throwing it from the pocket. Again, ideally you want him holding on to it a little bit longer, but it doesn't feel like that part of his game is quite there yet. But man, when he starts dancing and scrambling around, it gives you that nervousness of like, oh God, what this could be anything. This could be a 70-yard touchdown pass. It could be a turnover, could be a sack, could be a 35-yard scramble. It's complete Pandora's box at that point. And maybe some good things happen for Green Bay, but my guess is some good things are going to happen for Chicago as well. So you got to find a way to limit those big explosive plays off of Caleb Williams' ad-lib plays, where again, that raw natural talent takes over for him. Number 4, the Packers protection versus the Bears defensive line. The Bears defensive front is not a great pass rush unit. They're just not. Austin Booker coming back is giving them a little bit of a boost, but guys like Montez Sweat and Grady Jarrett are not as expected. They gave a big contract to Dio Odenigbo. He's out for the year. Wasn't really having that impact anyway. It's just not there. It's just not there for Chicago. The two things truly that they're missing is a little bit more consistency, especially within the frame of the offense from Caleb Williams, and a pass rush. If they get those two things, like, look the hell out. Everything else, they've got a pretty damn good setup for that team right now, but they don't have a pass rush. And we've seen this year for Green Bay, when you give Jordan Love time, good night, nurse. It is over. You are toast. You are done with. And if Green Bay's offensive line can match up with a pretty crappy Bears defensive line and give Jordan that time, especially with a returning Jaden Reed and maybe a returning Matthew Golden, I love Green Bay's opportunity to exploit that defensive backfield, which has been really good, but you give Jordan time, he's going to beat you. I don't care how good your secondary is. Number 5, got to keep an extra eye on those tight ends for Chicago. Rome Odunze's out. I'm expecting a lot of 12 personnel from Chicago, and Cole Kmet and Colston Loveland are two very good tight ends. We saw Cole Kmet last week on the benefactor of one of those crazy ad-lib plays by Caleb Williams for a touchdown. But Loveland is, to me, even the better one to watch. He's had a really good, I would say, last 5, 6, 7 weeks. Early in the year, I was like, oh my God, you drafted him over Tyler Warren. I was even thinking the same thing. And as of late, Loveland's kind of outperformed Tyler Warren, interestingly enough. He's a really good rookie tight end. He's got some run after the catch ability. Packers linebackers have been pretty good. Getting Quay Walker back will help, but those are not easy matchups. Keep an extra eye on Cole Kmet and Colston Loveland in this one. Number 6, how's that home field advantage for Green Bay? Their defense at home has been unbelievable. We've talked about it a ton this week. 13.5-ish points per game. No points, no 20-point games against this Packers defense at home. A lot of even garbage time scores within that 13.5 points. Their defense has been as good as you can imagine at home. Let's get that crowd going. Let's get the noise so that it's insane when Caleb Williams is trying to focus and get the snap and get his cadence and everything like that. If this home crowd shows up, I think it could be a huge advantage for the Packers. I expect there to be a lot of Bears fans there. The Bears fans are flying high right now. They are as excited for this season as they've been for anything in a very long time, probably since the double doink in the Trubisky era, right before that, right? They think that they're unstoppable at the moment. And so I'm sure a lot of Bears fans are going to show up. It's close enough. It's a Sunday afternoon, but let's get loud when the Packers are on defense, not when they're on offense, please. And let's give them that home field advantage, which they've really had all season long. Number 7, the conditions are going to play a part in some capacity. It's going to be bitter cold out there. It's not going to be super windy, and it's not going to be, rain or sleet or snow or anything like that. But I do think the cold plays some factor in this game. The team that handles it better will be at an advantage, and it'll be interesting to see. Green Bay has been really good in good conditions. I know some people feel like, hey, maybe this is a better passing attack when it's in good conditions. I think Jordan's going to be just fine. That's why you get a player with a really great arm to kind of cut through this stuff. Caleb Williams has it as well. It'll be interesting for me to see, again, which of these teams handles the bitter cold a little bit better. Go back to last year. Rewind. First game against Chicago in Chicago. Blocked kick wins the game for Green Bay. End of the year, week 18, 17th game of the regular season. Punt return for a touchdown on a really creative play swings the momentum for Chicago. They win the game because of that. Special teams, a huge, huge factor in these two games a year ago, could easily be the case again. I hope it's not, because usually that ends poorly for Green Bay. Although, again, they did win it on a blocked kick last year. but keep an eye on special teams. Again, bitter cold conditions going to affect the punting, going to affect the kickoffs, going to affect the field goals and extra points. Keep an eye on all of it. The Fighting Rich Bisaccias are going to need to be up to the task. That, again, does not give me a ton of confidence, but special teams easily could play a massive factor in this one. Number 9, need just a little bit more. I love a lot more, but need at least a little bit more from Rashawn Gary. This feels like a very big Rashawn Gary game, meaning how well he does could go a long way in defining how well Green Bay does defensively. We know Chicago's going to try to take away Micah Parsons, and we know Rashawn Gary's going to get some one-on-ones. Unfortunately, my guess is he's going to get matched up a lot with Darnell Wright because they're going to want to keep Mike on his right side and staying away from Darnell Wright. That's not an easy matchup. Darnell Wright's playing great football right now, but Gary's got to find a way to win some of those. He's done really, really well in run defense, it should be noted, and he's going to be key to that in this game of hopefully shutting down that Bears rushing attack. But either way, both in the run game and hopefully in the passing game, one way or the other, it to me is going to be paramount that Rashawn Gary show up and have a really big game in this one. Number 10 and 11. I just, maybe this is just for me, but I can't wait to watch these coaching matchups, meaning Ben Johnson versus Jeff Hafley. Johnson's got the better of Hafley more often than not as of late, but this to me has a little bit of a heavyweight fight to it. Ben Johnson's offense is cooking right now. Jeff Hafley's defense is cooking right now. You've got two of the bright young minds in the NFL, both on offense and on defense, going at it. I can't wait. I'm excited to see which genius play caller and defensive and offensive mind gets the better of each other. Then on the other side, you've got Matt LaFleur versus Dennis Allen. It's another really fun one. I'm excited to see how Dennis Allen wants to play. Does he want to play man, which we've seen more of lately? Does he want to go more zone, which Green Bay struggle with more lately? Very curious to see how Dennis Allen dials this up and what Matt LaFleur has in stake, or in store, I should say, for Dennis Allen. So those two matchups for me going to be very, very fun to watch. So again, Ben Johnson versus Jeff Hafley, Matt LaFleur versus Dennis Allen. Last but not least, number 12. I understand, just kind of wrapping it up where we began, that the Bears are plus 17 in turnover differential. It's scary looking at what Chicago's done at defense and knowing that if you turn over the ball a couple times, you're probably just going to lose the game. And you could have an easy tendency to say, all right, we got to be extra cautious. We got to be careful. We got to be a little bit nervous about the turnovers. It's the wrong way to go about it. Be smart, but stay aggressive. You can't get passive. Learn from the mistakes of the Carolina Panthers game. I love the way that they played against Detroit. I love to see Green Bay take a similar approach in this game. Be aggressive, but be smart. It's about not making the stupid, really dumb turnovers. That's what you don't want to do. If you end up, throwing a ball down the field that's a 50-50 and it's 50 yards down the field and the Bears pick it off and you can get them to the ground right away, just like a punt. It's not a huge deal. But you can't have the plays behind the line of scrimmage, out that gets pick sixed or something like that. Those are the plays you have to avoid, but you cannot play scared. You cannot face the boogeyman in this game as well of being like, oh my God, if we do this, we might turn the ball over and then the Bears might. No, go play your game. Let your defense get their turnovers on their own. And if you have a turnover, it's all right. The defense can get the ball back for you or at least maybe hold them to a field goal. It's okay. But play smart, no question about it. But do not play afraid. Do not play scared. Stay aggressive. And if you do that, again, I love Green Bay's chances to win this game. My 12 things I'm watching: turnover differential, the Bears run game, Caleb Williams and his ad-lib ability, Packers protection versus a pretty crappy Bears defensive front, Colt Kmet and Colston Loveland, can you kind of keep them contained? Home field advantage, how much does the weather play a part? Special teams, Rashawn Gary needs a big game, Ben Johnson versus Jeff Hafley, Matt LaFleur versus Dennis Allen, and make sure to stay aggressive. Not dumb, but stay aggressive. Don't play afraid. Don't play against the boogeyman as well. My prediction: Packers moved to a 7-point favorite in this game. It was as low as 5, started at 6 or 6.5. I think it was 6.5 to begin with. It is now up to 7 points for Green Bay. My prediction: Packers 24, Bears 16. Packers win, Packers cover, and pick up a huge, huge NFC North win against the Chicago Bears. What's at the line? What's on the line, I should say? Packers are currently a 91% odds to make the playoffs per the New York Times. That goes to 96% with a win down to 77% with a loss. They're at a 58% chance to win in the division. This is the huge one. 70% with a win, 24% with a loss. You have a 7 in 10 chance to win the division if you win this game. You have a 1 in 4 chance to win it if you lose this game. A huge, huge difference. And if you want to keep the odds alive for getting the number 1 overall seed, 16%, or they're at 12% right now. It goes up to 16% if they win, down to 2% if they lose, all but over to get the number 1 overall seed in the bye if they lose this game. Meanwhile, around the NFL, really 2 teams that you want to cheer against, the Seahawks and the Rams. Unfortunately, it's not great odds. The Falcons are playing the Seahawks in Atlanta. The Falcons are beat up. They're crappy. It's not a good season for them. It's not going well, but maybe the Falcons can pull the upset. That's certainly what we're cheering for in that one. And then same thing for the Rams. They're playing the Cardinals. Don't feel great about that either. Arizona's, floundering season is not doing them any favors at the moment, but we've seen a lot of upsets this year. And if the Falcons or the Cardinals could pull off a win, that would certainly be great for Green Bay. I will be live pregame and postgame very early on Sunday, 9 o'clock a.m. Live on YouTube for the pregame show. So check that out. I've got a soccer game right after, and then we'll be going to the stadium after that. So won't have an opportunity to do it later. But in case you missed it at 9, it'll still be out there recorded. So again, 9 o'clock a.m. live pregame show. And then probably about an hour and a half-ish after the game is done, I'll be doing the press conference as soon as the game is done. After that, making my way home, fighting a little bit of traffic. And then as soon as I'm home, we'll get that live post-game show started right away. So make sure to check those out over on the YouTube channel. Enjoy the game, everyone. Shout out to our All-Pro and Hall of Fame members, PJ Wynn, John Wild, Brandon Paletta, Boom Handle, Donald Lee, Lori Lord, Baby QB, David McCluskey, Donald Decker, Alex Wong, Peter Ritaka, Jay Zimmerman, B. Brown, Puerto Rican Packer, Dan Gassford, SoCal Pack, Chris Rager, Izzy Roberts, Ian Ewing, Willie Winkle-Stinkle, the Gable Storm Pack Attack Cast, Chris Weiss, Craig, John D. Metropolis, Hayden Radomski, Devin Lane, Alexander Newell, Bill Reinhart, Richard Morales, Les Nino, Beast Bumblebee, Benjamin Sargent, Christian Bradley, Stephen Bates, John Mark Lydell, and Nemo. See you guys for the live pre and post game shows. Should be a really fun day. Enjoy the hell out of it, everyone. And until next time, and as always, and especially on Packers Bears Day, go Pack Go.